Good evening. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. It's Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. It's now 6:01 p.m. I call the meeting to order. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time I'll open the meeting for public comment. Seeing none, public comment is closed. We have review and approval of agenda. Is there any board discussion? Mr. Woods.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
All right, Mr. Woods has moved to approve the agenda as written. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Diggs has seconded that. Please cast your vote. I think this is your pen. Okay. Right, that passes. Review and approval of regular board meeting minutes from November 26, 2024. Any board discussion? Mr. Woods.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
And Mr. Woods has moved to approve the minutes as written. Do we have a second?
A second.
Ms. Diggs has seconded. Please cast your vote. All right, that passes. Next agenda item is review and acceptance of our financial reporting. Is there any board discussion?
I'm going to just ask just to get it. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Woods.
I want to ask, I know we talked a few minutes early, but I want to ask just to get it on the record that we did get a great amount of information on our finances, which brings us up to September 24, if I'm correct. Could you explain to us and the rest of the board and to the public too, just when those final, and we'll be kind of say we're in a caught up kind of situation?
Yeah, so thank you, Commissioner Woods, for that question. So at this point, and it's actually through, you received in your packet financials, which includes the interfund transfers, the low rent and HGV programs from November 2023 through August of 2024. So what remains due to the board is September, October, and November at this time, because we would only be caught up through November if we were current. We anticipate having September, October, November, and December, hopefully by our January meeting. If not December by a January meeting, then December and January by a February meeting, but we should be all caught up no later than February 2025. And then you'll be receiving the corresponding previous month's financials at the subsequent month's board meeting.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. All right, do we have any further board discussion regarding the acceptance of financial reporting?
No. Yes, one more question. So, you know, the conversation we had as far as setting up, talking over legislative audit and stuff like that, still on the books and in the making?
Yes.
Okay. Like that. Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion to accept the financial reporting? Ms. Diggs.
I'll make a motion to accept the financial report.
Ms. Diggs has moved to accept the financial reporting. We have a second by Mr. Woods. Please cast your votes. All right, that passes. Mr. Jackson, we'd love to hear your executive director's report this evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening, Commissioners. Hope everyone is doing well. I would like to, before I go into the meat of the report that corresponds with your packet, I did want to mention, as it relates to some of the information in the financial report section, we do have the ELOC's balance sheet, which can show that we've begun drawdowns for the past fiscal years. The balance sheet that's included in your packet has a drawdown of $100,000. We have drawn down an additional $192,000 from Cap Fund 21 and an additional $156,000 from Op Fund 24. So that will be reflected in the next month's balance sheet, but we'll definitely have more drawdowns coming our way. But I just wanted to make sure that the board knows that we have begun to draw down past fiscal years as well as the current fiscal year that we're in right now. We did also have just so everyone is aware, thanks in large part to Ms. Yolanda Prevost and our partners at 76 Strategies, we were able to have a timely submission of our unaudited FDS, which is due 60 days after the end of the fiscal year with a 15-day extension for no penalty. For the benefit of Commissioner Diggs, we have had a historic issue with that timely submission, which has cost us 15 points, or 60% of what is considered our financial condition indicator score, and that has greatly contributed to our troubled status score in the FOS system. And FOS is the acronym for the Public Housing Assessment System, which is a quantitative indicator for public housing agency performance. So with the timely submission, that means we will have the full 15 points for the FDS portion of the financial indicator, and we stand a very good chance of improving our status with HUD. As to the submission, because it is our first with a new fee accountant and a good bit of reconciliation had to be done, there is always the possibility that our submission will be rejected for correction. We do not know if that's the case yet, but if it does occur, I will notify the board and provide an update on the resubmission, but that will not affect our points. And so that concludes that portion of my report to you. In your packet tonight, we have the November 2024 low rent report, and it is as follows. Total units, 129. Leased units, 47. Mod units, 70. We didn't have any move-ins in the month of November. We did collect $9,755 in rent between money order and our online rent payment system. We have currently 12 vacant units that are at the boutique property, and 5 are move-in ready. And we do anticipate having a good number of those units moved in into the month of January. We did issue 10 delinquent rent notices, and we do have 1 current pending eviction at the property. We, as always, include our DeZalmans and Hanville units that are on mod status. I would like to let the board know that when we submitted our request to transition from the streamlined voluntary conversion to the RAD Section 18 blend conversion, the application was put back into draft status, which changed the occupancy status on the units that were mod in our PIC system. It changed it to vacant. We're currently working with HUD to determine how we can get those units back into mod status. And that was basically just something that automatically happened because of the change in the application status, because when you submit, everything gets locked down, but when you change your status, it basically reverts. So we're working with them to get that done. We did not have any wait list letters because we're currently purging the waiting list for the low rent. We did have 8 maintenance work orders that were completed and started timely. I did also include the repair plan for the vacant units that I indicated earlier at our boutique property and their status and the time by in which we believe that they'll be move-in ready. I also included our master list, which has a few more items to do. We're largely done with that, but we will include that list until we've been able to complete those. And again, we will be scheduling biannual inspections of every unit at the Boutique property, so we can avoid deferred maintenance and any other issues that could create larger problems just with our ability to keep up with the property. The next report that we have is the November 2024 HCV report. As it relates to that report, we have had 4 port outs searching for housing, 5 port outs leased up, 10 port ins leased up, 1 port in searching for housing. Yes,
I don't
sure.
like to disturb you.
No.
Just to get Ms.
Sure.
Diggs on board, when you talk about port ins and port outs, what are you talking
That's
about?
when either someone has a voucher and they choose to relocate to another jurisdiction, or when someone from another jurisdiction chooses to relocate to St. Charles Parish.
Yeah.
So port in, and some port ins we pay, some port ins we get billed for, but and port outs as well.
Thank you.
We did have 1 EOP. Overall, as it relates to payments out for the month of November, we paid out $267,624 between HAP outgoing and administrative fees, as well as $239,194 as it relates to HAP income, $11,000 as it relates to income portable payments, and $19,048 as it relates to administrative income. Currently, we have 249 vouchers leased up, and we have 9 voucher holders searching, and currently we have 4 in-house vouchers searching, and we've had 3 new landlords added to the program in the month of November. We did include our October VMS submission. Again, we appreciate your patience as it relates to VMS reporting. In your board packet, we will try to get the previous month included in all of our board packets. Sometimes the submission, although it is timely, does not correspond well with our deadline to get you your information, but we will always include the previous month's submission in your board packet in the future. I would also like to add that we are currently still in the shortfall prevention program with HUD. That is a nationwide issue. A number of of the housing authorities in our region, in the state, and in the country are all in this. Basically, to give you the long and short of it, rent prices have increased. The subsidy that aligns with HAP payments has not. So we have not only us, but a number of agencies around the country, I think the majority, to be honest, have issues with, they have a budget authority that they're given, but HUD is not paying that to them in HAP. We did receive a shortfall prevention fund payment for the month of December, and for reasons that we're still trying to figure out, they did short our HAP payment considerably for November and December. We're still working with HUD to correct it. I know Paul with 76 cent updated VMS reporting to our VMS contact, Ms. Parker at HUD. So hopefully we'll have that funding restored. But it's definitely an issue that we're still dealing with a shortfall. We can't provide new vouchers to families that are on our waiting list, even though we have done a waiting list purge. But and it really just prevents us from being able to grow the program like we've been doing. I don't have stats from before I got here, but I know under the leadership of Ms. Johnson, under the leadership of Ms. Prevost, we've grown the amount of voucher holders in our program significantly. So hopefully we'll be able to come off the shortfall program into the next year, but again, I'll keep the board updated as it relates to that status. Okay, as a follow-up to a long-standing agenda item that doesn't appear this month, we will be submitting a status report to HUD as required by our recovery agreement before December the 26th. Ms. Diggs' awareness, Commissioner Diggs' awareness, we did have a recovery agreement that we agreed to HUD agreed with HUD on that kind of sent some benchmarks because of our troubled status. We've been able to meet those benchmarks thus far, exceed them in a number of different areas. We just have to provide a quarterly update to them in writing as it relates to where we are with the recovery plan. So that's what we plan to do before December the 26th, and I'll definitely be forwarding that report to you all once I've submitted it. And as an FYI, as it relates to our Christmas holiday, our offices will be closed on December 24th through Christmas Day, December 25th. We will reopen normal business hours on December 26th, and our offices will also be closed on December the 31st and January 1st for the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day holidays, reopening at our normal business hours on January the 2nd. And that notice will be posted on our website and will be posted on our door no later than tomorrow. And I would also like to thank, on behalf of the board, our families and our community partners, Mr. LaRon Bird and the We Made Supportive Services Foundation in advance for supporting and facilitating our efforts to provide for Christmas giveaways for our Bootsy residents this year, specifically the We Made organization and Mr. Bird for their efforts in not only helping to facilitate refreshments, but also a toy giveaway for the kids. I will definitely let the board know when that event is scheduled to take place. If they wish to attend, it will be this week. And I would also like to take time to wish you, our board, the staff, the families we serve, and everyone a very happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and any celebration that they may have, as well as a very happy and blessed New Year. And that concludes my report, and please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jackson. Do we have any questions from the board? Mr. Woods.
Not any particular questions, but just want to thank Mr. Jackson and Ms. Prevost and the whole staff for putting this packet of financials together. I realize what amount of energy and time and all of that, doing that for us, for sure. It's just me noticing, I was noticing in our packets, like every page now is, I want to say, is a number, and you can actually say to go to page something and do a thought. I was like, was that just me? So again, thank you for even what you're putting together. Even those things are helping. It's easier to search your way through and even to direct people to questions if you have some thoughts. So just thank you for all you and the staff are doing to better and more efficiently serve this board.
Thank you, Commissioner Woods.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. Appreciate it. All right, our next agenda item is for Resolution 2412-1701, now open for public comment. Seeing none, public comment is closed. We do have a memorandum from the board regarding approving and adopting a resolution for the revision and advertisement of a revised 2024-2025 PHA plan, 5-year plan. This is for Resolution 2412-1701. Purpose of the memorandum is to provide an overview of the proposed resolution, approve and adopt a resolution for revision of and advertisement of a revised 2024-2025 PHA annual 5-year plan. The authority is a public housing agency established pursuant to Louisiana law, whose mission is to promote adequate and affordable housing, economic opportunity, and a living environment free from discrimination. Committed to the authority's mission, the staff is continuously working to improve services, strengthen operations, and implement sound policy. The authority and its Board of Commissioners from time to time, as dictated by HUD federal regulations, must create and revise annual and 5-year plans to clearly communicate its operational goals and objectives for the short and long term. Anytime there is a material change to those operational goals and objectives, the PHA must revise its annual and 5-year plans. Due to the change of having to pivot from the Streamlined Voluntary Conversion, SVC, which was included in its 2024-2025 annual and 5-year plan, St. Charles Parish Housing Authority must revise its plan to allow for more general language as it relates to repositioning strategy. The resolution would allow for the authority to revise and advertise its plan for the statutorily required 45-day period, culminating in a public hearing and subsequent review and consideration by the board of the revised plan for submission to HUD. Approval and adoption of this resolution by the Board of Commissioners is required for revision advertisement, public hearing for, and consideration of the revised 2024-2025 annual 5-year plan for submission to HUD. The staff recommends board approval and adoption of the proposed resolution to ensure St. Charles Parish Housing Authority's compliance with HUD regulations regarding public housing annual 5-year plans. Regarding Resolution 2412-1701, having no public comment, do we have any board discussion? Mr. Woods.
Yes, I understand exactly why we're doing this. But when you said to allow for more general language, what's going to kind of change? What are we going to be telling HUD in a sense?
Because we specifically were on task and target to have a final and approved streamlined voluntary conversion plan, because they consider that a material change by not having that anymore, we have to revise the plan. And the advisement from HUD was that we revise it to a general language, not just saying something about a demo repositioning disposition plan, instead of saying a specific type.
Program
Yes.
and all of that stuff.
I mean,
Got it. Okay.
we are hopeful that we will be able to get everything done within the RAD Section 18 blend conversion process. It's, we just got to get it across the finish line.
Gotcha.
And we don't want to tie
Right.
ourselves by a resolution that mandates one form.
One form or the other, correct.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. And so that's going to mean we go through all the advertising, resident involvement, stakeholders involvement, all of that.
So just for the plan, it would involve the advertisement and review of the revision, and it really is just going to be one line, but we'll have to have it available at our office for public review and comment. And then prior to the February regular board meeting, we'll have the public hearing, which will also be allowed to take comments from the public.
Okay.
And then
And that'll likely be directly prior to the meeting.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
All right, any additional board discussion regarding Resolution 2412-1701? Mr. Woods.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the adopting of resolution number 24-12-17-01, approving and adopting a resolution for revision and advertisement of a revised 2024/2025 annual and 5-year plan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Woods. Mr. Woods has moved to adopt Resolution 2412-1701, approving and adopting resolution revision and advertisement of a revised 2024-2025 annual 5-year plan. Do we have a second?
A second.
All right, Ms. Diggs has seconded. Please cast your vote. All right, that passes. Resolution 2412-1701, a resolution of St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Board of Commissioners approving and adopting resolution revision and advertisement of a revised 2024-2025 annual 5-year plan. The undersigned, being the duly elected Secretary of St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, hereby certifies that by written consent, following resolution was duly adopted, whereas St. Charles Parish Housing Authority is a public housing agency established pursuant to Louisiana law, and whereas the mission of the authority is to promote adequate and affordable housing, economic opportunity, and a sustainable living environment free from discrimination, and whereas the authority, as dictated by HUD federal regulations, must create and revise its annual and 5-year plans to clearly communicate its operational goals and objectives for the short and long term, and whereas when there is a material change to those operational goals and objectives, the PHA must revise its annual and 5-year plans, and due to the change from the streamlined voluntary conversion, which was included in its original 2024-2025 annual 5-year plan, St. Charles Parish Housing Authority must now revise its plan to allow for more general language, and it relates to repositioning strategy, and whereas the authority and its Board of Commissioners wishes to revise and advertise 2024-2025 annual 5-year PHA plan and allow for a public hearing on the revision of the plan and consideration by the Board of Commissioners to allow for submission to HUD and to ensure compliance with HUD regulations. Now therefore be it resolved that the resolution to revise and advertise a revision to its 2024-2025 annual 5-year PHA plan and to allow for all related matters on the revision of the plan is hereby adopted. All right. Mr. Jackson, do we have an update on the conversion plan?
Yes, we do. Chairman Jay and Commissioners, again, thank you. Since our last board meeting, we and our partners from Standard Enterprises have met with our HUD-assigned technical assistance provider, Mr. Jaime Bordenave, on 2 occasions to discuss next steps on the conversion. The meetings have been very fruitful, especially for Standard, as they have received more clarity on the financing options and impact of the rents for the RAD Section 18 blend conversion as compared to the streamlined voluntary conversion. We also did receive our checklist as well as a number of just the differences between the 2 programs from Mr. Bordenave. Our next meeting with him will be on January the 16th. We did also receive notice from HUD that our previous application information has been sent to the corresponding HUD department, and we should hear from them in the new year on next steps. But overall, with our update to the PHA plan, our previous environmental review already completed and potentially still acceptable for HUD, a few of the hurdles that remain will be application preparation once we hear from HUD, the community meetings, a revised capital physical needs assessment. On that standard is confident that that won't take long to revise, and finalizing the financing model to know what our ask will be from our partners and stakeholders if there is one. Those are our last remaining, those would be our biggest hurdles into the process. Once we get the guidance from the HUD RAD officials, that will help us narrow down a specific timeline for preparation, submission, and approval to proceed. As mentioned last month, we look forward to continue working with HUD Standard, the board, and all of our stakeholders, and again, moving this process forward with due diligence and with expediency.
Do you have any board discussions regarding the plan update? All right, seeing none, move on to other matters. In the last couple of board meetings, we did discuss the opportunity to create separate committees to avoid any conflict with the open meeting laws, so we could dig into some additional issues. And I did request at the last meeting that any commissioners that had a thought regarding a committee creation to submit them to me prior to the next meeting. I did receive one request from Commissioner Woods to create a finance and audit committee. At this time, I'd like Mr. Woods to explain kind of what you see that committee role being, and then we'll move forward from there.
Well, Mr. Chair, you know, in the past, the board has had some conversation of how a legislative auditor or the legislative auditor would not only interact with the ED and fee accountants, but what the role of the board is and what that interaction between the legislative auditor and the board is. I'm thinking because ultimately we are, you know, responsible for the finances, that we establish some procedures that kind of dictate or give us some guidance how we interact with that legislative auditor. How he reports to the board, how information is disseminated from the agency to the legislative auditor, and with a more intent of having the board a part of that process.
All right, thank you, Mr. Woods. Does the board have any discussions for either myself or Mr. Woods regarding the Finance and Audit Committee? All right, seeing none, we did review the bylaws, and according to the bylaws, that myself as chair can create this committee, and so therefore by the authority vested in me as chair of this committee, I will be creating the Finance and Audit Committee. For its first 2 members, I am going to place Mr. Woods as a member of the Finance and Audit Committee and myself. We will have regularly scheduled meetings. We will update the board about our process and any recommendations that we have for the board at our future meetings. All right, at this time, we'll now again open for public comment. Seeing none, public comment is closed. I need a motion and a second for adjournment.
I make a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
All right, Ms. Diggs has moved to adjourn, and that is now seconded by Mr. Woods. Please cast your vote. All right, that passes, and the time is 6:32.
We just wish
We-
everybody a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. We will see y'all next year. The meeting is adjourned at 6:32. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you.